continuing this thing we're making. So Namakelen part 3, and probably this is going to be the last part we make before I straight up make an illustration for him, which at that point we're going to try and depict you know, like a scene basically, you know, like we're going to do some thumbnailing for composition and all of that. So yeah. One thing I wanted to do today was these arms, and something I planned this time is I already have a bunch of references here that we're going to use for different types of arms and extremities, from tortoises to megatheriums to like just, you know, like overall, like megatherium, as far as I know, wasn't the type of creature that went around, you know, like climbing trees or anything, but it's as big as sloth, right? So I was thinking I might as well, actually I clicked on that by accident. And well, of course, sloths, which they are one of our main inspirations for the main body, but also something that also climbs and that also has very thin, long claws, which are the bear claws, the actual claws, because when you don't specify that it's not supposed to be food, this is what you get. I don't know where this comes from. I have no idea what it actually looks like. I kind of understand maybe why it's called this, but never mind. So yeah, we are going to look specifically at these ones. Just to have, you know, like different references and stuff like that. So, oh, there's something there that I want to look at. Oh, and you still get the food. Anyway, so I had thought of doing the same thing as sloths, right? Like how many fingers do they have? Like 3 or 4, right? 3 or 4 claws. They almost look like fucking Geigen hooks, honestly. They kind of, it looks like that. I'm not gonna lie. So you have those that are really, really long. Of course, bears are not at all the same. So you might be wondering, why are you looking at this? The reason why I'm looking at this is because sometimes you just have to look at random stuff to, you know, like just get inspiration from different things. Sometimes you don't expect, okay, so that's what they're called bear. I get it now. Anyway, so sometimes you just need to take inspiration from random things. And the problem with bears, or the good thing about bears, for us at least, is that, why am I seeing that thing? Okay, never mind. They also live in trees. At least they climb trees. They don't live in trees, so they're not specialized, but they can climb. No matter how big they are, they can like climb and just like chase you. That's why if you see a bear or a grizzly bear, you shouldn't go up that tree, because he's going to kill you anyway. And so, you know, like it's adjacent. And I think you can look at the claws and see some of the similarities, at least in the shape, right? Like these are not meant to be sharp claws necessarily. Bears themselves don't really have like super sharp claws either. Like they're kind of dull, right? Because they're not. And this is where you have to understand nature, so you can make a creature design that it's not just monster go raw. Cats have really sharp claws because they are retractile. Like, you have the claws here and they come out, and then when they don't use them, the claws like go back in, so they don't necessarily lose sharpness. Meanwhile, dogs, wolves, all of them, they always have the claws out, so they erode. They erode because of wind, they erode because of dirt, rocks, just walking around all day on the claws. So yeah, what that does is that it generates this difference where you see cats using their paws to fight, but you don't really see dogs doing the same thing. If dogs had claws that actually dealt damage, they would have evolved to use them, but they don't. So sloths, their claws are very different. See this little, I hope this isn't AI or anything, but look at those claws. Like, it's funny enough that the small sloth seems to have the sharpest claws because he hasn't lived enough to actually, you know, like get them all dull and stuff. So these are all things that you need to consider. And here's a sloth walking on the ground, which is really sad. And this is something that I will also have to think of, because do I want to have my kaiju walk around on land, right? Because here it looks really fine. And then you come here and it's like, ooh, he looks kind of wonky. He looks kind of, like, I don't know if this looks nice. So what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm just going to scale everything down. I think I'm going to delete this, actually. You know what? I'm going to do that because I can just do it again later. I don't give a shit. This has served its purpose. We know what body shape we want to give it. We know what we want from this thing. We know how the head is going to look. And so now all we have to do is we are just going to like let go of that. I'm just going to make this smaller. Well, hell, there we go. That's not. Okay, does it work now? There we go. Nice. So we will keep that because for now it's the most up-to-date, I guess you could say, version of this design. Let's see. So we decided we're going to remove the third pair of eyes. We are going to give him like more mammalian eyes instead of lizard-like. Let's have this. Okay. Now I'm going to use the reference for the tortoise because we're going to think, okay, how is it going to look when it's actually sitting on the ground? For this, I could just look at, you know, like this tortoise over here. Can you not? Okay, I just want to look at a fucking picture, dude, like. Let's see. So that's a really thick leg over there. Like Those legs are way fatter than I thought they were. Um, for us to understand this, I feel like we should do this. Ah, for fuck's sake. Dude, like, I miss the days where you could just, like, open up a picture and, like, you could just see it. I think if I do it like this, open image. Well, not the best quality. This is better. Okay. So we have a curvature, kind of like an A shape. Then it's like this. And the fingers. Okay, it's almost like the fingers are like this. Basically. I'm going to keep looking through some of these images, just so we can have a better understanding. Don't just take the first image you see. Like, you need to understand what you're doing, right? Now this is a 3D model. I don't know how accurate it is, because here we see that the feet are completely different. And so now we go back to this. To seeing them, you know, like in real life. And as you can see, yeah, like the feet, the toes are going inwards. Which is weird, because in the other picture it looked kind of like this, but I guess that it's kind of like this, you know. So if we have doubts or confusion, that's not a bad thing. There we go. So yeah, they're completely inwards. So now that we get this and we understand what doubts we may have had, we can go and use these doubts as understanding for what we want to make. So of course our little dude doesn't have a giant shell. Oh, okay, now this is really fucking cute. Okay, no, I wasn't expecting this. Look at that. Look at that. Anyway, he's not supposed to just like have those. He would walk like this. But then the back would look like that. So our question is, how do we go from something that it's configured like this to something that has to have claws? And this is the part where I just go silent, and I think normally I don't actually, like, you know, like artists way better than me will just like tell you, okay, like what if we make the claws go like this, right? So how will he look upside down? Like, we make a tree, we think of this, okay, so this it goes like that, and then maybe he just whoop. Right, so on land he wouldn't be touching anything with his claws, so they can maybe remain sharp. And he looks like he has weird shoes. Which, you know, like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, animals don't have to look cool in nature, but, like, let's not pretend like we're not trying to make something that looks nice, okay? Because, like, we're just lying to ourselves at that point. Do I think this is, like, terrible or something? Nah, it's fine. But it will be better if it didn't look like weird shoes. So, even then, I just want to explore this a little bit more. Because as we've seen with tortoises, because in English you guys have a word for turtles and a word for tortoises. What we're using as a reference here is more of a tortoise. And turtles are the sea ones, apparently. Is that they have like all of these scales right here, right? They look really sharp. I don't know if they are. I don't really care. But yeah, in this curvature here, they're just way more prominent. So we could do this, or we could make it so that... Okay, and here's where we go with the structure. So we know that there's a curvature here. In the bone structure, right? And then for what we've seen, and this is tortoises, by the way. This is not necessarily my kaiju that has this. Let me look at the reference. The other reference. Thank you. So if we do it like a turtle would have it, at least the hands. By the way, sorry, I'm getting sick. We will have something more like this. I'm just trying to imagine walking like that. I think there was an animal in... Okay, this is going to be such a weird search. Walking with beasts, I think, is the documentary. So there was someone here for sure that looked like a fucked up panda, like a cow panda, horrible thing they had. And I remember very specifically how that one, I think, walked like this. Imagine this is the ground, okay? Like, instead of walking like this, like an ape, you walk like this. So I'm trying to find that. Because I might be wrong. I might be misremembering. And if I'm misremembering, that's fine. But if I'm remembering this correctly, and this can actually help me figure out a way for this thing to walk, then that's good. Animals. Oh, I think this is the one. I don't know why I remember it looking like a panda or a cow. It's funny. Okay, there we go. Yeah, no, definitely it's walking like a gorilla. No, oh, okay, no, look at that. There is definitely Chalicotherium. Chalicotherium. We found it. So there's clearly an image here of it walking differently, like a velociraptor from Jurassic Park. Here we have the same thing, but here we have this. We have him walking on the sides. So this is something we could use as inspiration. And actually I would even say maybe we can change wait, okay, my tool, okay, yeah, I'm looking at you, fine. Maybe we can change our posture. No, actually no, let's not do that. I don't want to change the posture because I want it to kind of resemble something that could then look kind of like a tortoise, blastoise thing, you know, with these patches that are just going to resemble like a turtle shell, but they're not going to be a turtle shell. You know, where it's going to basically pee, like, okay, like it would, you know, release the excess that it didn't consume from the red dust, and in a way just like just shoot it out. But yeah, we have a creature that walks kind of like this, and then this will just make it easily explainable. Okay, so this thing is here, its hands are like this, and then the claws just go around. And all of this came from me wanting to give him the shape of something that literally looks like it has weird shoes. We just modify this a little bit and now we have this. I'm just saying, like, that's how you can do things. And as you can see, like, nothing I'm drawing here is like, holy shit, dude, like, it looks so cool. No, this looks really bad. And even this, what the fuck? Even this, it doesn't really look well drawn. Now, what I'm going to do is, in case there's someone here, by the way, I should check on the... Where's the chat? Where's the chat? Where's the chat, actually? No one's here anyway, probably. So I wouldn't worry too much. It's late, I know it's late. Anyway, what was I saying? I'm going to put this over here. I didn't even know I could do that anyway. Just a reminder, what I draw is stuff that looks kind of like this. By the way, Rodan is special for someone else. I'm doing this as this little Rodan version as something for a YouTuber I know. Anyway, I draw stuff like this. Like, this is not supposed to represent, like, I know that feeling that someone might have of saying, dude, like, I really need to prove to people that I can draw. And so, like, when I'm in this part of the process where I don't really have something like established or anything. I just feel this pressure because I need to make it look good. I think that's dumb. Like, of course, it's rich coming from me. I literally just pull this to prove to all of you that hey, maybe you're not watching a fucking fraud talking about nothing, right? But when you're working uh, for your own stuff and you're not streaming like I am, right? Trying to do something with like a channel and all of this, you won't need to prove anything to anyone, so just don't worry about this. Don't worry about it not looking perfect or whatever. Like, it's not important. And if someone walks into a room, I don't know, and says, dude, that looks kind of like bad, tell them to go with shit. It works. It's going to make you look autistic and rude, but if they're rude first, then you know that they were rude first. Like, who cares what other people think? Anyway, so we have this now. We have a way more established arm. We basically just took this from turtles, but we applied what we already had. Like, honestly, we're not really changing things all that much. And by that I mean like we said we're going to have a turtle mixed with a sloth. I don't know how you pronounce that one. How you're supposed to pronounce it in the correct way, whatever. And what we're doing now is we're using the anatomy to actually understand if we can do this and if we can make it work. And we have found a way to make a creature that, using the anatomy of a turtle or tortoise, is able to climb. It climbs just fine. It doesn't have any issues climbing. It's happy on the trees. Actually, there. Maybe we can make this even like more pronounced. And then the leg is coming here. And like it will go around the tree. So I think we have a basis for the front, the extremities, the arms. We have the head, we have the neck, we have the arm. We have an idea for this. Of course, the detail will change. Maybe I decide that I want to go on the more cliche route of just giving him spines, which, like, it's not a bad thing if you put spines or dorsal fins or whatever in your creature, but if you're just doing it because that's what everyone else does, then what's the fucking point? You have to do something that works. What I could do is do a little 98, but change the shape to adapt it to what I'm doing. Oh wait, there. I don't know why I couldn't figure out what I was doing over there for a minute. And clearly here you will have this. So we have now dorsal fins, and these dorsal fins are kind of helping to the shape that we're trying to create. Now, what I realize is, like, between these, like, how this will have to connect at some point here, and you will have like exposed flesh in a way, even though it's not supposed to look disgusting. And maybe here you will have like this, I don't know, like flesh here and here. I mean, if it's supposed to be like an alien, maybe it's not so bad that it looks kind of grotesque. What we can do then is use the colors to make it look beautiful. So I'm going to show you something. Wait a minute. Nope. So where is this? Where is it? Okay, so first of all, yeah, let's get something out of the way. I love cyberpunk. I like the Coffin of Andrew and Ailey. I play a game called Slay the Princess, which is really nice. I like the Backrooms, Silent Hill 2, Jurassic World Revolution, blah, 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 blah. You can analyze my desktop as much as you want, but I want you to focus on this one for now. This is basically a game where you have the Thing, the movie The Thing, in an oil rig, and there's no paranoia about who's the monster because the monsters are fucking horrible, and you'll know if someone is a monster. Maybe they take a little bit of time to turn, but they just turn like really fast. Like they don't stay hidden or anything like that. The monster is not smart, and it's not one monster controlling. Like someone is like every single person that's infected turns into something. I'm not spoiling it, okay? So don't worry about it. There's something that this game does that, think of Vita Carnis, if you know what Vita Carnis is. Well, imagine the flesh from Vita Carnis's universe just like spreading everywhere. Kind of like also in War of the Worlds. You have like this flesh just spreading all over the place because they use humans to like I don't know the word in English. Anyway, if you've seen the 2005 movie, you know what I'm talking about. They use us to like grow plants and everything's red. Think of flesh like all over the place. Make it disgusting, but also make it look kind of beautiful. That's what Still Wakes the Deep is doing. It's bioluminescent flesh. It's red and it's blue and like it just irradiates light all over the place. Maybe we can do that, right? Like if we think that there is something here in our creature that should look a little bit disgusting, but we don't want it to look like that, but we feel like it should be, then we shouldn't necessarily think that we have something that's completely fucking broken and like want to throw it all away or anything like that. We should think, okay, so can I fix the problem? If it even is a problem. Maybe it's not a problem. Maybe once I actually do like everything, and I will have to draw this on my own for some time, okay? Just to give it different tries and see how I want this to, like, do I want this? Do I maybe want to cover up this gap a little bit with bits of flesh? Or do I want to leave it clean? Like that, right? I'll have to do that off stream because I need to just explore everything, but I will let you guys know. Actually, I like this. I ended up liking this way more than I thought I would. We are adding edges, you know, like here, of course, the claws were always there. Now we have this that, again, I didn't want dorsal fins at first, but now that I look at them like this, they look really nice. We have this, we have this. This will be maybe a little bit angular, you know, like, so I guess you could say we have this and we have this. We have a kind of spiky boy here. Now let's think how many of these like edgy things we have for no purpose. This has a purpose. As I explained, he filters air. You know, he eats. Basically, he's like a giant filter. But I was thinking, okay, what about liquid water and all of that? When he is here, like on a tree here, right? He will use these tusks to cut the tree, and so the syrup or whatever just falls. And the filter in his mouth is literally positioned there, so he just like does like this motion, that's like this, and then he just puts like his head back, and like the syrup just falls in there. So he can, like, I don't know, here he's processing air, or maybe here, I had to think of that, and in whichever he processes air, in the other one he's drinking, like that's where the liquid goes for him to process that, right? So it's two different systems. So this has an explanation. This and this also have an explanation, which is really simple. I want to add colors here. Like, I want to add colors here and here. This is going to be reproductive. This is something that the males will have, so it's really colorful, kind of like a toucan. So there's that. The claws, well, because it lives in trees, it needs to do this just like sloths. Here is the same thing, so we have this, and here, why does he have these? Why does he have these? I don't know. Sometimes it's okay to just make things look cool. So these are the only points in my design where the character actually has something that doesn't make any sense necessarily, right? Like, this is not illogical. It's just not necessarily like super complex. It looks like that because I like it. If your character is, every part of him is just, he looks cool and that's kind of it, he can work still, okay? Like, don't let anyone tell you that your character cannot work. But the problem is, if you want him to be like what I need this guy to be, which is an animal that feels real, then that doesn't make any sense. Even Monster Hunter tries to think of ways to make its monsters make sense, as close as they are to kaiju. Some of them straight up are kaiju. They're always explained in a way. Here, I'm taking this straight from turtles. So what I could say is, okay, this is not like edgy, like this won't cut anyone. This is not supposed to be defensive or anything. It's just the scales on a curve that, you know, they end up looking like this. Scales, if you have something like this, right? Scales do this. Normal. Now, if you have this, scales suddenly look way more pointier, right? So that's why this is here. Now, why does he have scales? That's the part where I say, oh, he just has scales because I like that. I like that aesthetic from tortoises, right? And that's fine, by the way. That's okay. Like, this isn't edgy for the sake of being edgy. Yeah, like the aesthetics are nice, but it's not like, oh, like he's like all pointy and shit. No, these are like very dull scales. So in a way, I guess I don't really need to explain this one. Also, he's an alien. Why can't he have scales? Maybe in his like origin environment, I don't know. Like it's just nice to have fucking scales. Now this here is just aesthetic, which is, I think, the best way of saying, because it's cool, so you don't sound like a 14-year-old. You just want to have a level of aesthetic that you can say, okay, so this looks like a really pointy, you know, dangerous maybe flower, right? It's going to shoot this thing, da da da, blah blah blah. We can connect this with this. On his back, he can have like red spines and stuff like that. But we're going to leave this for now. And we're going to focus on something we haven't really closed up yet. But we have to, if we're going to continue with this, you know, which is the back legs. Yeah, the back legs, they will be pretty simple. This creature, like I already know, I'm 100% depicting it from a front view, because, okay, that's kind of odd, like it's having some delay. You need to understand your design. This is how I'm going to show this guy for the most part. Right, like the weight will be here on the front. I'm not going to show this guy from the back. And if I do, I'm going to technically show him from the back the other way around, right? Like I'm going to show him hanging from a tree. So you'll just see the back. You'll just see this, and you'll see ta-ta-ta, you'll see maybe the neck turning up to you or something like that. We'll see how much he moves. So let's see, this is the trunk. This cause will be mostly implied from here, it will be very foreshortened. And then you might have this. As you can see, even here the legs will be seen, but this is not the main, like, let's be honest, like the strong suit of our design is here. So we need to compartmentalize, I guess you could say. We need to focus and divide our attention on the most important parts of our designs. I feel, at least, like someone with more experience might say, no, that's actually not what you do. You need, okay, so you have all of this cool stuff here, you need to think of something nice here. You'll do that on your own, okay? Like, I'm clearly not going to just let this be here. I'm going to add some details, maybe some like scales, to make it more interesting, but there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, this is like the main part of my design. That's it. So we're going to go back to anatomy of like real life animals. I don't like these legs, even though it's similar to what I'm trying to do. Even then, I'm just going to look at any references that I can have. Nice. Okay, this is interesting. Look at that. Look at that. Boom. I personally did not know that this was like a real thing. Right? So I thought that was like a cartoon thing, like Ben 10 will have something like this. Or the Alien Queen has this. The Alien Queen, okay, let me look at this. So the Alien Queen will have legs kind of like this. right? Like this is the alien queen. If you don't know it, now you know. Yeah, this is empty space. I guess it's kind of similar to this. So I didn't know that animals actually have this. I'm just finding this out right now, but there it is. Now my dude has one really big claw. I feel like that bone would need to be bigger than these three little bones if we're going to do that. And I'm just going to look at different angles. This is the same one. Okay, here. There it is again. How do they show it with the skin on? Okay, yeah, so that's where the tendons would be. Like this is way more exaggerated and I'm going to delete it. You know, it was just an example talking about how I thought that this was like a sci-fi thing. I'm going to first of all copy the anatomy here. And then I'm going to try and understand what the hell I just made, right? So it's kind of like this. It's kind of like that, okay. This one's really short in comparison. And then we have this. Let me take another closer look at the toes in specific. Look at that curvature. See, like this is nice to know, like there's a lot of curvature. We don't see with all the meat and flesh on top of the bone, but you need to understand that it's there so you know how to plan. So for example, this here, it's like that. Then you have this, which it looks like this part is coming closer to us, right? And then you have like another one there. And of course then you have like da-da-da, you have this, you have that, and then you have this, and you have this, and you have that. The reason why this is important is because this means that you will have this bump here, and then you have the feet and the toes and da-da-da, but you now know that there is a bump here, probably at least. You have more chances of having it than of not having it. Like, I don't know how fucking, I don't know, Coricotherium? I don't know how fucking Calicotherium looked. And you don't know either, and that's the good part. For me, because I can bullshit my way out of things. But if you bullshit too hard, don't complain when people don't take it seriously, you know? So let's say it looks something like this. Something like that. This looks kind of funny. And then he had like a really elongated thing because of his posture. It's kind of similar, but we have we have it like this. Ours is like that, not like this here. So this will be more like this. We are going to exaggerate this shape a little bit more, but what I need to know now is, okay, so if that's how it looks, then how do I turn this into what I want? Remember how we made the front limbs be what we wanted? By saying, okay, we take the turtle and then we adapt the turtle anatomy with the calicotherium and we make the hands face inwards, right? With the sloth configuration in mind, we need this thing to climb trees and to hold onto trees. So now I need to do the same thing for the claws here. Because when this thing is on the trees, it's not going to look like this. It's going to look like this. Probably even more like that. Right, and here you will have like the trunk. So now we need to change that. And the easiest way to change it is we just do this. This is too thick and it's I don't like it. Now, you might think this looks weird. Guess what this is supposed to be. I have something in my head right now that I thought of as I was drawing it. And what do you think this is supposed to be? Like, if there's anyone watching me, I'm sorry that I'm not looking at the chat. I'm new to streaming, so I'm like, okay, so look here. I have all of this. I don't know where the fucking chat for YouTube is. That's for sure. I have no pants, so I cannot even stand up and go get the phone, which I should have here, but I forgot. And oh wait, I have a PC. I'm a human being that has PCs. Okay, so. I hope I don't get demonetized. I'm just going to look really, just for a moment, if anyone has commented anything since, oh shit, there's one like. What? Someone liked this? Wait, actually no one commented. I think the reason why I cannot see the chat is because no one has commented yet. I'm pretty sure that has to be it. Let me see. I'm sorry to be doing this, by the way. Again, I'm new. Okay, just like I'm new at this. I don't even. Yeah. Okay, no one commented. If you're watching this later, clearly no one's here right now. Please just comment what type of animal am I using here for reference. Take a guess. Just whatever guess you want, take it. Okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. This is it. And as you can see, I was wrong. This is not really how it looks, but it looks close enough. And you might say, how the hell does this look close enough? I was thinking of how this will fit around like a hoof would, but then the hoof keeps growing. Horses. We used a fucking horse to create a sloth turtle abomination. And I wasn't even planning to do that. The reason why I did this is because I was thinking, you know how a horse, like, I was thinking, how does it look? From the back, right? It looks like this, it looks like that. And then I was thinking, like, how do the fingers look? I know they don't look like this, we just looked at them. But basically, what I'm thinking is, what if the fingers all like mutate, I guess you could say, turn into like this singular thing, right? And on the outside they create like this shell thing that ends up having this shape. And you think to yourself, oh, okay, so that's no, this is like literally it. This will need to be closer to here. So you have the bones here, maybe even going a bit deeper. And they just, like your nails, create this structure around it, and it's hooked. I just think it's nice. So now we have a part horse in our creation. I'm going to save this because this is probably, like, this is way more important than the initial sketches we had, because the sketches were ideas, and this is more than ideas, this is straight up understanding, and we need to save this. Because no one is going to understand our creature design, only we understand it. Some people, the point is that once you understand it, you can transmit it to people that having created this thing. But they don't necessarily need to understand it once they look at it. It just needs to make somewhat sense, right? So, how would this look if this thing was walking on all fours? Now, having it walking on all fours is something that wouldn't really happen. What I'm thinking of doing is this is, let's call this an initial thumbnail for like an illustration, okay? I'm bad at drawing people for now. Sue me. I only draw dinosaurs like a good autistic fuck. Let's say it's someone with long hair, whatever it's, if it's a guy or a woman is irrelevant. And what I'm thinking is to have this image, right, of this giant ass fucking porongasaur maybe not even noticing the person necessarily. We will have, because of how his neck would be so tall, his head will end up looking smaller. This will need to be taller, okay, even taller, and then okay, there. I think I'm making it run away from something, right? So it's trying to look back. And here's my biggest doubt, like, will his claws work like this? So there you have like some scale. I'm thinking I could do something like this, right? And for all of this, we needed to really know how we wanted his body to work. And now I know, right? But the thing is, the fact that I'm not necessarily going to show him like this, maybe I can even just show how people are like living in the trees and have one hanging, right? Because while we want to have this, for us to just have like a side profile, also it's like he doesn't walk like this, like his back legs don't work for walking on land all that well. And if he would, it will look kind of like this. He will basically have giant clown shoes, right? These are basically clown shoes. Like, he wouldn't be able to walk without dulling this. They will look round as hell after a little bit. Also, it wouldn't really give leverage to this part. Like, the tendons would be so stretched out. So we got to the point where, yeah, this is the point where you have to make a decision. I have to make a decision. Will this thing need to have something to show for on land? And I think not. Like, we're going to have this image here to understand how he works, but we will only have him, like, like his legs will only be here for basically what's illustrative purposes. There's no point in forcing this. I technically will have to draw him upside down, but I just don't feel like that makes a lot of sense because of this, okay? So basically, it's not that I'm lazy, so I don't want to find a way for him to walk on all fours. We have, where the hell is this sloth? I want you to remember this image, okay? Remember it. Sloths crawl on the ground, they don't walk, okay? we always have pictures of them attached to trees, but then look at this. Look at this one. Of course, I guess this is before they realized that these guys live. Dude, this looks like the fucking rake. I never realized how fucking creepy this was. But anyway, we don't depict creatures as pathetic as they might look at their worst. We depict them with a little bit more dignity, creepiness even, because it looks again creepy as hell. It shows him kind of like sitting. We don't show them just like slogging around the ground pathetically. We don't do that, right? Like we try to make it work in some way. So what I'm going to do is see another one right here. Even though he would never do this, we're going to depict him as if he was in a more sitting position, just for the sake of us being able to illustrate what we're trying to do. There. And is this going to kill the moment or our creation? No, not really. Like, it's just a creative decision for us to know how we're going to depict him. Wait. There. That's it. We know how this works. We know that there's no way he could have this pose here. Probably his feet will be in incredible pain from all the weight. And also the fact that they're like completely sideways. But it's not important because we just need to depict this. We understand how it works. We know how it looks even on the inside. Like I did this. We know how it looks from behind and below too, because I know perspective. And I did this. And this is all we need. This is all I need. So on Extreme, what we're going to do is I'm going to do a lot of these little things. You already saw me do one, but I just decided now that this guy does not walk on land. If they walk on land, they're basically dead as hell. They don't have anything left to do. You cannot get them to a tree necessarily, because they're too big for you to move. And so that's their biggest weakness. They fall, they die. They will eventually die. Because you don't get to absorb as much red dust if you're like literally just on the ground as if you were up in the air in the giant trees. So next stream we're going to just make a lot of like images and stuff like that and whatever, right? And we're going to try and see if we can like depict these dudes in ways that we like, or maybe brainstorm. Why again, I keep saying I'm going to be doing all of this, and you guys are just going to watch me brainstorm and do all of this. Maybe we're going to make everything upside down and we're going to be looking down on the village, which is something similar to what I was planning on doing with Gabra, but with Gabra it didn't work because he was facing away. Actually, I'm going to show you that, okay? I think it's this. It's going to load, so just wait a little. This is something I wanted to do for Gabra's main art thing. But Gabra is looking away because Gabra doesn't care about climbing up trees. He only climbs so he can then go down and kill the family, right? Well, not kill the family, but ruin the family. Like, here we're dealing with a creature that will be here. his arms will be there, and his head will be visible for us to, like look and analyze. We can actually look at him because his whole configuration is looking at us if we have this point of view. Gabra, this didn't work, so I left it. This guy, the Namakelen, yeah, with Namakelen it works. So we could do this. Of course, we wouldn't be trying to show the impending doom of a family. We could then have like just a view of the village, and maybe the paths around and how they connect to other trees and show the Namalek as part of the everyday life of people. He's just chilling in the trees, and I can also do some world building. This is something I could do. Of course, I wouldn't use this same composition, which I'm going to recycle this someday, right? Because clearly, if you know about composition, you know that I'm doing the whole... Okay, that was a horrible curve, but I'm doing the whole thing right there, which here is not as well done because the circle is here, right? So it's a huge deviation. I'm not good at curves, okay? Like Sumi. If I had done that and I just had this Gabra pose differently, maybe I can put the family here and I can have the open mouth here depicting that. Okay, and now I'm doing something completely different. So the thing is, next stream, now that we understand how our creature's physiological... English is not my first language. Now that we know how his anatomy works, we will use all of our knowledge about our own creation, which, by the way, the fact that we understand this makes it our creation. If you go and you look at someone and you say, hey, this looks really close to what I was doing, I guess I'm a fraud. Understanding all of this, no, you're not a fraud. This is your own stuff. You made it. I made this. Like in this specific case, I don't think anyone can tell you how my creations, bones work. I'm the only one that does that. I'm the only one who knows why this looks like this. I'm the only one that knows my inspirations. I'm the only one that knows how this guy breathes and eats and all of that, and why he has this thing in his bag, and that's me. So if someone comes and has something similar, ask yourself, do they understand all of this? And then remember, maybe the exterior looks similar, but how does their creation look on the inside? There's a bunch of things in our planet that have evolved completely separately, and they end up looking very similar. There's snakes, and then you have reptiles with no limbs, which look like snakes. Sometimes evolution happens to coincide. So don't feel bad if you make something that just so happens to look like something that someone else made. As long as you know why what you made looks like what you ended up with, that's good enough. That's more than good enough, actually. You went and you actually did something that most people don't do. So yeah, we have an understanding of what our creature can and can't do. And that's something that a lot of people don't even bother knowing. So I feel like we will be able to make a bunch of nice thumbnail. I'm brainstorming. I keep saying we, fuck me, dude. So I feel like I will be able to make a bunch of thumbnailing for this little guy. I'll be thinking about it all day long. But before I do that, again, I will be thinking about the colors and all of those things. Maybe not image. Actually, you know what? We're going to make it a black and white image. I'm not going to make it color, just because I want to focus on the design itself, and colors can come later. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not good at painting digitally yet, or maybe ever. Like, I don't know. So yeah, that's something that I'm going to have to learn with time. But for now, we have everything we needed. The back, we added a little cool factor to it, to something that I already had planned. I decided to add more flesh. We figured out every single limb. We figured out his digestive system. And yeah, next stream we're going to just go for it. That should be the longest stream. We're going to decide on whatever thumbnails I make. You know, like, are we going with number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4? And then the next stream after that should be us just straight up going for the illustration. So yeah, that's all. This was probably a little bit faster than I thought it would be, but that's not an issue. I'm going to save this and see you next time. I'm Kaskag. I'm trying to create my own kaiju story, and I'm just trying to create little guys to populate the planet, the world. It's our planet. It's just fantastic. So yeah, I hope to see you next time. I'm just going to open OBS in front of all of you because I don't have 2 screens, 2 monitors, sorry, and just fucking shamelessly do this. Bye.